The message began as nothing more than a faint whisper through the void. A small freighter, crippled beyond hope, drifting near the edge of the Persid expanse. Its engines were gone, its hull torn by pirate fire, its crew dwindling by the hour. The captain, weak and desperate, transmitted a final call for help. A distress beacon carried on old electromagnetic bands few civilizations still used. It was a futile gesture, one meant only to mark their passing. Across the endless stretch of stars, the Galactic Council's relay systems ignored it. The signal was primitive, outdated, the kind used by species that had never risen to interstellar prominence. No one listened, no one cared, but something did. Far beyond the borders of the Council's core worlds, where the maps faded into half-remembered legends, an ancient listening array stirred to life. Buried beneath layers of dust and steel, its systems woke from centuries of slumber. Red warning lights flared. Sensors aligned. The signal was caught, analyzed, and transmitted deeper into the dark, toward a world that most in the galaxy believed had long gone silent. That world was Earth. For 200 years, humanity had withdrawn from the galactic stage. Once a rising power within the Council, their fleets unmatched and their technology growing faster than others could regulate, they had left after a series of betrayals and wars. No one knew what became of them. Some whispered that the humans had destroyed themselves. Others claimed they had ventured beyond known space. The truth was buried behind a wall of silence. Now, for the first time in generations, that silence broke. On Earth's rebuilt capital, deep under the rebuilt skies of the North Continent, a signal operator watched her monitors flash with a code older than her grandparents. The beacon was weak, filled with interference, but unmistakably human in origin. The distress call repeated a single plea. "This is the freighter Solace, requesting aid. Coordinates attached. Life support failing." Within hours, Earth Command was alerted. A fleet was mobilized. They did not send diplomats or slow-moving response drones like the Council did. They sent ships of war. Not out of aggression, but efficiency. Humanity did not wait for permission or debate in endless chambers. They acted. The fleet that departed Earth numbered only 12 vessels, but they were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The largest, the dreadnought Vigilant Horizon, was a moving fortress, its armor black as the void. Smaller ships, sleek and silent, moved around it like hunting wolves. Each bore the insignia of the Terran Vanguard, a branch that had not been seen in known space since humanity's departure. When they arrived at the coordinates, what they found was chaos. The freighter Solace was still drifting, surrounded by the debris of destroyed raider ships, but something else lingered there too. Council patrol vessels hovering at a distance, doing nothing. The patrol commander opened a channel, his tone filled with bureaucratic coldness. "This is Council enforcement. You are entering a restricted sector. Identify yourselves." The reply was short, calm, and carried the unmistakable weight of command. "This is the Terran Vanguard responding to a distress call. Stand down." There was silence across the comms. For a long moment, the patrol ships did not move. Then their captain spoke again, voice trembling. "Terran Vanguard? That division is extinct." "No," came the answer. "We just stopped talking to you." Before the Council ships could react, the human vessels moved. Tractor beams locked onto the freighter, pulling it to safety while medical shuttles darted across the void. Every motion was precise, disciplined. The patrol ships, uncertain and fearful, dared not interfere. When the humans jumped back to hyperspace, the news spread faster than light. The word Terran reappeared across communication channels for the first time in centuries. Council worlds buzzed with disbelief. Senators convened emergency sessions. Old intelligence agencies reactivated dormant files marked human contingency. The galaxy had always known humanity as unpredictable, bold, and dangerously creative. But no one expected them to return. Not like this. Days later, the rescued freighter's crew gave their first testimony before Council envoys. They spoke of the black ships, the cold precision, and the emblem of a blue sphere surrounded by 13 silver stars. Some thought it impossible. Others feared what it meant, because humanity had never done anything halfway. When they built empires. When they fought, they reshaped worlds. And when they returned, the universe remembered why it had once feared and respected them in equal measure. Soon after the rescue, the Council sent a delegation to Earth. Their fleet of golden cruisers arrived at the edge of the Sol system, broadcasting peaceful intentions. The humans allowed them to enter, but their journey to Earth was escorted by an armada of silent sentinels, machines the size of moons, with no visible weaponry yet radiating power that made sensors tremble. When the delegates finally landed, they found a world transformed. Earth was not the fractured planet they remembered. Cities floated in the sky, their foundations held aloft by gravitational anchors. Energy shields shimmered faintly in the stratosphere. Space elevators reached into orbit, ferrying cargo to vast shipyards above. The human representative who greeted them was calm, polite, and carried none of the arrogance the Council often accused them of. "We received a signal," she said simply, "and we responded. That is all." The lead counselor bowed stiffly. "We appreciate your intervention, but your presence raises concerns. The reactivation of your fleets may be seen as destabilizing." The human smiled faintly. "The galaxy is already unstable. You just stopped looking." Behind her words was a truth the Council could no longer ignore. In their endless pursuit of balance and bureaucracy, they had allowed piracy, corruption, and apathy to spread. Worlds burned in silence while committees debated. Humanity had seen this decay once before and chosen exile rather than complicity. Now, they had returned not as allies seeking approval, but as watchers, guardians of their own design. Over the following months, human ships began appearing across border regions. They escorted trade convoys, dismantled pirate fleets, and re-established communication beacons long forgotten. Some worlds welcomed them as saviors, others viewed them as a threat. But none could deny the results. Entire sectors once lawless now thrived under human watch. Refugees were relocated to rebuilt colonies. Diseases thought incurable were treated by Terran science, yet no human representative ever asked for tribute or control. Their only statement remained, "No one answers a call for help faster than us." Still, the Council grew uneasy. Their political influence waned as humanity's actions drew loyalty from countless systems. They summoned the human envoy again, demanding explanation. "Why are you intervening in territories outside your borders?" one counselor asked sharply. The envoy replied with a calm gaze. "Because those borders were drawn by those who refused to act when lives were lost." The tension grew. Fleets were mobilized, threats exchanged. Yet humanity did not fire first. They waited patient and silent, until the Council's posturing turned into fear. The final moment came when a massive invasion force from beyond the galaxy, creatures of dark energy known only as the Obsidian Tide, crossed into the Perseid expanse. Their technology defied known science, consuming entire worlds. The Council panicked. Their fleets, divided and outdated, fell one by one. Desperation filled their broadcasts. Then, as before, a single distress signal was sent, an echo of the one that had started everything, and humanity answered. The Terran vanguard unleashed its full might. Thousands of warships emerged from slipspace, forming a shimmering wall of steel and energy. Colossal carriers opened their hangars, releasing swarms of drones that moved like flocks of birds. Planetary cannons fired beams brighter than suns. The black-armored soldiers who followed were silent, efficient, unstoppable. The Obsidian Tide, which had devoured empires, was pushed back in weeks. Their great constructs shattered under the relentless precision of human warfare. When the final enemy vessel fell, the Council's surviving commanders watched in stunned silence as the Terrans did not celebrate. They simply turned, scanning for more threats, ensuring the galaxy was safe before returning to their shadows. In the aftermath, the Council held an emergency summit. Every delegate stood as the human envoy entered. No guards, no weapons, only quiet strength. One counselor spoke, voice filled with awe. "You could have conquered us all. Why didn't you?" The envoy's answer echoed through every chamber, every world, every broadcast frequency. "Because that's not who we are. We don't answer calls for power. We answer calls for help." Silence filled the hall. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy understood humanity's nature, not as conquerors, but as protectors forged through loss, exile, and endurance. From that day forward, every distress beacon sent across the stars carried a new hope. Because when the universe cried out again, it knew who would listen. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same.